Once upon a time, in a faraway land, there lived a little girl who always wore a red hooded cloak. Because of this, everyone called her Little Red Riding Hood. One day, Little Red Riding Hood's mother asked her, "Would you take these cookies I made and some medicinal herbs to your grandmother? She's not feeling well." "Of course, Mom," replied Little Red Riding Hood, and she set out on her journey. Her mother warned her not to stray from the path through the rabbit forest. As Little Red Riding Hood walked along, she sang songs to herself, wondering why they called it the rabbit forest when she never saw any rabbits. Along the way, she saw colorful flowers. "I'll pick some flowers for Grandma. She'll be so happy," she thought. Little Red Riding Hood didn't realize she was straying from the path. Suddenly, she heard a noise behind the bushes. A wolf appeared before her. Little Red Riding Hood was frightened and dropped her basket. The wolf quickly gathered the spilled cookies and handed them back to her. Little Red Riding Hood was surprised by the wolf's actions. "Where are you going, little girl?" asked the wolf. "I'm going to my grandmother's. She lives in the yellow house at the end of the forest. By the way, everyone calls me Little Red Riding Hood. You can call me that too." "I'll go ahead and inform your grandmother then. You stay here and pick flowers," said the wolf. Just then, the wolf heard gunshots in the distance and fled. Little Red Riding Hood realized she had wandered off and started to cry. An approaching hunter heard her cries and came to her aid. "Why are you alone here, little girl? It's dangerous." "I've been tracking a wolf in these parts for some time," said the hunter. Little Red Riding Hood, regretting not listening to her mother's advice, couldn't bring herself to tell the hunter about encountering the wolf. "I was taking cookies to my sick grandmother. I got lost," she said. "I'll take you to your grandmother then," said the hunter. Meanwhile, the wolf took a shortcut to the grandmother's house and knocked on the door. "Who's there?" called the grandmother. "It's me, Grandma, Little Red Riding Hood. I've brought you delicious cookies and medicinal herbs," replied the wolf, altering his voice. "Come in, my dear. The door's open," said the grandmother. The wolf entered the house. Later, Little Red Riding Hood and the hunter arrived at the grandmother's house. After leaving Little Red Riding Hood at the door, the hunter left. Little Red Riding Hood knocked, and the voice from inside welcomed her in. "Who's there?" "It's me, Grandma, Little Red Riding Hood." "Come in, my dear. The door's open." Little Red Riding Hood entered, noticing that her grandmother's voice sounded different, but she attributed it to her illness. The room was dark, and the grandmother was in bed wearing her nightgown, hood, and glasses. The wolf had disguised himself. Little Red Riding Hood put down her basket, but stayed away from the bed because her grandmother looked strange. "Why are your arms so long, Grandma?" she asked. "So I can hug you better," replied the wolf. "Why are your ears so big, Grandma?" "So I can hear you better." "Why are your eyes so big?" "So I can see you better." "Why are your teeth so long and sharp, Grandma?" "So I can eat you better," said the wolf, leaping out of bed toward Little Red Riding Hood. She realized then that it was the wolf she had met on the way. "Help! Somebody help me!" she screamed. The hunter, hearing her cries, rushed back to the house and caught the wolf. "I finally caught you. Now you're mine," said the hunter. He opened the wolf's stomach and rescued the grandmother. Little Red Riding Hood thanked the hunter. "It's nothing, but promise me you'll never disobey your mother again," said the hunter. The grandmother ate the cookies Little Red Riding Hood had brought and drank the herbal tea, quickly recovering. Little Red Riding Hood promised her grandmother that she would never again trust strangers over her mother's words. She then set off for home. As she walked through the forest, singing happily, she met the wolf again. The wolf, who had been sentenced by the hunter to clean up the forest, felt ashamed when he saw Little Red Riding Hood. The rabbit forest returned to its lively state, full of rabbits once again.